Hey, hi. I was just looking at this bird out here. I wanted to celebrate these little changes I've made in my life and share them with you because I thought about them a long time before I actually did them, and and was scared and went through a lot of just the typical excuses not to do things. But I'm really enjoying what I've learned, and I want to share with you little changes that I've made in my home and in my life that I think are good, and they can prepare us for what might be coming, which is, maybe the electricity, or maybe the internet doesn't work anymore, right? So, um, here are some of the things I've done. I have a record player. Again, you have to have electricity for that, but I think that it's just nice going analog, and we don't have televisions. We have a couple of computers, laptops like this, but having a record player is great. I have one I just put in the kitchen, and it's one of these. Um, it looks like it's old, but it's not, and you can find them online. They're like $100. I got them at a pawn shop for 40. It's great. So having a record player is really nice, and also it has a tape player, which is cool, and it has a radio, and it's all compact, and it's a box. So I think that it's nice to explore analog music. Of course, the best would be that we play it ourselves. We do. The children are learning instruments, and I play some piano. But here are some more practical things that we have going on. I have changed my silverware to woodware. So I have wood forks, knives, and spoons. Of course, all my spatulas, all of that is all wood. I cook in is like terracotta pottery. In Spanish, it's called barro. So clay. Where I cook in clay pots. I think that if you follow my channel, currently anti metals. I think that metals are poisoning us, and that became I evolved that thinking after what occurred in 2020 and in 2021, what was rolled out, and how that's affecting the body, and what seems to be a consistent presence in iatrogenic processes in allopathy is metals and plastics. So in that in that desire of mine to be coherent, I am using clay pottery pots to cook our food in. And what I've learned is that if you, a couple of them that I have I bought a couple on Amazon, and then I brought some from Colombia that were made there. And if you go too high on the stove, I have an electric stove. That's something I want to change back to gas. I always had gas here, my other life. But if you put the ceramic on the stove on too high of a temperature, it will crack. So just know that. But they're pretty cheap. So I mean, it's not that's not a huge investment. And the wood silverware is really cheap, which is great. Um, I have also planted my little food forest, which I've discussed several times on here. I'm very excited about that. And yesterday discovered potatoes, and the just watching them grow every day is amazing. I do composting, which I didn't do before, as far as putting it directly onto the trees. And composting is just, that word used to intimidate me. I thought it was some complicated thing I didn't understand. But basically, I'm just anything that I do in the kitchen, and I buy organic as much as possible. The peel of the onion, or the peel of the orange that I made the orange juice, whatever, the scraps. I had some fish bone. You put it in there, and then what I do is then I go out and I put it around my trees, and then I put leaves over it, and my trees are growing, and and the fertilizer and pesticides that were put in them in the nursery are coming out. And I think it's really interesting. I'm not sure if I'm right, but it feels right. What is so interesting is you think they're dying because they come out on the ends of the leaves, And on my avocado tree, it looked like it was just totally dead black on the top, but on the bottom, there were green leaves. So I think that in plants, and the nursery guy told me, he said in 6 months, the pesticides will be gone and the fertilizer will be gone. And I was like, okay, great. So we're at about 6 months. It's really interesting. But he didn't say how. I'm thinking that that's what I'm seeing in the leaves. So when you see leaves that don't look so good in your yard or whatever, if you have a yard or you're privy to seeing productive plants growing, don't give up on them and don't presume that they're dead. Okay. Like there's a lot. I don't know much. I'm totally coming out this from being a city girl for way too many years. And that's what I want to share with you. I don't know, but I'm talking to a lot of people and asking experts and listening to neighbors and people that know this land. And it's just been very enriching this year to do that. Other things I've done, I have changed our toilets. Um, I haven't changed the toilets. All I had to do was buy this $100 bidet. Ferguson's has it online. It's a the lid of the toilet has a hose in it, and then I had a plumber come out, and he did our 3 toilets, put the bidet in, and it's great. So we don't use toilet paper, which is basically a hose. If you didn't know the word, I grew up with a bidet because my dad had one installed in built in our house, and he was an OBGYN. So it's something that's, I think, is everybody should have. Also, I have cabled my house. So this computer right now is on Ethernet, right? And that was kind of a pain in getting it done. I mean, I called around for different pricing. I called the cable company, we call them cable companies, right? But the Wi-Fi companies now, they didn't really want to do it. Even the people on the phone didn't even understand how you do it. And I'm like, wait, I'm an older person. Everything used to be cabled. Think about offices, they're wired. But got my bill down about $30 from not having Wi-Fi. And I just feel better because, again, going back to the metal theory that metals are killing us, I believe that the electromagnetic frequencies, we should minimize them as much as possible. And that includes this screen that I'm looking at. I know that there's a patent that destroys the human nervous system. Look it up, human nervous system monitors. And that, I think it came out in like the early 90s. So they know what they're doing. And we just have to get ahead of it and go back to nature. What else that I'm really excited about? The Oh, so I used very little air conditioning this year. We have ceiling fans. Basically, when people came over and they were like, "Oh my god," they couldn't deal with the ceiling fan or the heat. But that's been really wonderful, and the children are getting it. That it's better to be in the air. And again, ceiling fans are fine, or fans that I would have fans on the porch also. I think the more when I drive with my windows down, I think it's really important that we look at those two words, air conditioning. They're conditioning the air. And as I've mentioned before, I think it's the cooling element for air conditioning and refrigeration is fluoride. And if you are still brushing your teeth with fluoride, or even brushing, because brushing actually takes away the enamel on your teeth that God has provided, or whatever you believe in, our creator has provided this beautiful system, and that brush actually worsens our teeth. I didn't learn any of this until a few years ago, but I just want to share with you that we can make these changes. So I do salt water. I also do coconut oil. You leave it in for a good 10-15 minutes and you swish it, and it's called pulling. I used to use olive oil, but now I don't think that olive oil is good. And I don't know if it was ever good. I've been thinking a lot about how so things that were marketed hard to us over these years have been done in a very stealth way and are primarily just to make money. And then hopefully not to harm us, but I think that they might. So, for instance, Popeye, right? So Popeye, that cartoon, I need to look all of this up. I'm just doing this from memory. What was that, like the 1940s and 1930s, 40s? Maybe that cartoon came out. So were they promoting olive oil and spinach? I think so. And I think that someone mentioned this, and I bet we can all verify it. I think it's the last 20 years, in the first 4 minutes of any TV show or any movie, there'll be some kind of a mention of coffee. Whether I gotta get my coffee or the person has a coffee cup, right? Um, and coffee, I stopped drinking coffee. I also, I'm not wearing makeup. I'm growing out my gray. I'm letting it come in. I'm not dyeing my hair anymore. And these have been big decisions. I'm a typical woman, and I love this color. Love it. But I'm saying goodbye to it, and you'll see, God willing, I'll be still recording here. Um, you'll be able to see as it grows out what it's going to look like. It's pretty white up here, man. But it's great because I'm thinking that and it's just an idea. I'm thinking that my body is just getting out all of these poisons, and that maybe the gray will turn back to my natural color, which is brown. Because I noticed that I've let my armpit hair grow out as well. So that's been a big one. I was at the beach in Colombia, and they're typical, actually very beautiful women, maybe not so typical. And I used to get up my nails done. I don't paint my nails anymore. I used to go to I was like every week manicure. Um, so I've made a lot of changes in this gradual homesteading, and it's inside and out. And I just wanted to share with you and get some of those ideas out, to not be too intimidated. But I feel good about, even though they're little things and they may not add up to much because it's so overwhelming what's going on in the world. These have been really good exercises in my life to discipline myself, to utilize what I perceive as the natural elements to take care of my body, our children's bodies, and our home, and the land that is producing food for us, and the animals that we take care of. And this year a goal was that the children learn about animal husbandry, and I had a pregnant cat given to me, which was amazing, and we had the whole process. It was amazing. I saw her in labor. Then she had them under the porch. We came home and she had 6 little kitties. It was great. We raised them. I gave away 4 of them to 4 different homes, and I asked each of them not to vaccinate and not to castrate the kittens, and not to microchip them, and to keep them. They're already outside cats that they already knew how to hunt. So all of this has been so wonderful, and I want to share with you this idea of manifesting what you want, and not doing your best. This is what I'm It's an exercise daily and momentarily, of not thinking about things that make you feel bad. And so it is positive thinking, but it's in a very constructive way. It's not ignoring things. If there's something you need to pay attention to, you need to do it. But if we ruminate, and that's the word, if we ruminate over things that cause us stress, then we are basically calling that stress to us. And I tell you that from my personal experience this year, particularly. I mean, it's been an amazing year. Last year was an amazing year. I went to France. I went to Spain. Those trips were not really planned until 6 days before, 7 days before. And I got cheap tickets. It was just surprising how everything flowed really well, because I just kept the good idea in my mind of, wow, that would be really fun to go. And I just kept the good, and not, well, I go because of money, and but like, the minute that we talk about or the minute we think about what we don't have, we're in a space of need. And then and then we're needy, and then we're putting out a desperate energy, is the way that I'm going to explain it. And I think that really resonates with me. And because when I do focus on it's I was telling my friend today, I was like, it's just what my mom said when I was a girl. You gotta be positive. You gotta be positive about things. And that's so simple and it sounds so corny, but I think those two words really do it. Just be on the up. And this is a huge challenge right now because the great tactic for depopulation is managing our fear, our making sure that we are full of fear all the time about everything. So once you realize that everything that's coming at you, whether it's your bills or taxes, your job, your boss, and your the everything that's going on in the world, the fires, all of that stuff is to generate fear. And if you switch that to the positive side as of I'm going to get to the bottom of this and get to the truth, as painful as it is to find out that we've been hoaxed and tricked and brainwashed, it is wonderfully liberating after you get through that pain and after you get over your ego, which we all have to get over because I used to think I was really smart and I knew all these things. And of course, there's a globe. Oh my gosh, of course, there's a globe. There's gravity. Like I used to say that. I know. Okay. And there's viruses, not right. So none of it's been proven. None of it has been proven. So ask for the proof. Look at the proof. If you can't get the proof, really examine the person who's telling you the fearful information and ask the questions that you have without feeling stupid. Ask them. Ask the questions and teach your children and your grandchildren to ask the questions and just ask them, how does it work? I don't understand that. Can you explain it? That's all I wanted to say. So have a great start of your year. Consider some of these little changes if they appeal to you. And if not, thanks for even listening this far. Thank you so much.